Welcome back to the Joseph Graham Show. Today, I'm super excited to have John Burdett, who I met through our good friend Kevin Thompson. Now, John, you've been in business for a long time helping people. And if I remember right, the name of your business is oh,
Fast slow motion.
Fast Slow Motion. I wanted to say fast moving slow, and that didn't make sense. Fast Slow Motion. But for people that don't know what you guys do, give us a little bit of your background and how you even became an entrepreneur.
Yeah, thank you so much for allowing me to be on the podcast. I'm very honored and blessed. I love building businesses, and so that's what Fast Slow Motion does. We help other people build their business the right way using good systems and processes on CRM platforms like Salesforce and HubSpot. So we're the geeky, nerdy ops people who understand tech that want to come along great sales teams and great ops teams and great service teams, putting good systems in place, putting the technology in place so that the business thrives and is able to scale properly. And so that's what we do at the end of the day, that we've been doing that for over 10 years now. We specialize in helping small businesses become big businesses. So we like to work with smaller growth businesses, which is somewhat unusual in the ecosystem. Most people want to work with really large businesses. We really enjoy professionalizing and removing the chaos from a business. So that's what we do. How I got there, really briefly, as I started building businesses myself. So I've had the pleasure of helping build multiple software, both on the services and product side businesses, and learned by making a bunch of mistakes. And so I actually did what we do at Fast Slow Motion for my own businesses. And so once again, learned all the things not to do, learned a few things what to do, and then I started Fast Motion to help other people really enjoy the journey of building a business. I know you're big on building a business you love and doing what you love. I am too, and we want to help them do that and do it the right way.
No, I like that. So you've been in an entrepreneur type since you were a kid, like you sold stuff, had your own business when you're younger. Is that kind of how it was, or?
No, honestly, so I was an athlete growing up. I was always good at school, but I really enjoyed sports and I'm hyper competitive. I love to win. I love everything about that. And when I got out of school, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do other than I knew I wanted to be in software. I came out of school as a software developer. And I was blessed enough to one of my professors had started a company and he offered me a job and I was like employee 15. And that's where I fell in love with small businesses and entrepreneurship and growing businesses. So I got to do that in an environment where I didn't know anything. So I volunteered for everything. I got to do everything. I got to make a lot of mistakes in a protected environment and learn how to scale and grow a business while helping them do that. And then that's when I fell in love with entrepreneurship and building businesses and doing things around that.
No, I like that. But there's a key thing there. They gave you grace to fail to learn. And I think a lot of people don't catch that because everyone sees, because you know, in entrepreneurial land, everyone shows you the highlight reels. Oh, I'm here in Hawaii. Oh, I'm here in Greece. Here's my Bugatti or the stuff. They don't tell you the thousands of times that they've failed just starting to build and grow and do this. So I'm glad that you had that space. Have you so you've been in business for a while, then have you done, I mean, my mind goes here because you said that you were in a protected space to grow
Mhm.
and learn. How did that shape the decisions you made going forward? Because most of the time people don't have a protective space. Most of the time, if you mess up, it's like, John, you're an idiot. What did you do?
Yeah. Yeah. And it was very formative for me because I lacked a lot of self-awareness early in my life and early in my career. And I think that's a superpower and something that can be developed. And I think I'm fairly self-aware now. But I was blessed in the fact that in those formative years, they gave me a lot of grace. They gave me a lot of responsibility and opportunities to take on things that I didn't deserve to be able to take on. I was talking with CIOs of Fortune 500 companies and stuff, and 22, 23, 24 years old. I didn't belong in that office at all. But as you mentioned, it was so impactful because I got to come alongside other people and be in those offices and experience things that most people, don't get to do until their 30s or 40s. So what it allowed me to do is really kind of learn emotional intelligence and that I grew up in the period where emotional intelligence wasn't a thing yet. He hadn't
Hmm.
written the book. And then about that time, we started talking about it, and I started developing these people skills where I learned that people are the most important thing. And because I had such a great example, I then started applying that to my business where I'm all about putting good systems and processes in place, but overlaying that with good people and then getting out of the way so they can do their job. So the process and the frameworks and the systems give them the freedom to operate and not hang themselves, so to speak, but it'll also allow them to make some mistakes so that they can learn and get better and not be punished for that. And it's a nice little checks and balance system that can go along to build a business. And so that's really what I learned from that. And it took a lot of self-reflection to really kind of immaturity for me to get to a level where I was worthy of being followed as a leader.
Well, because we all have to start somewhere. Like I look at
Yeah.
it like in my sales career, 20 years ago, I was horrible. Like my first sales gig, I literally looked at a guy and said, I can't do this to the
Yeah.
customer. You shouldn't do that in sales. He laughed and said, I'm going to do it anyway because I like Home Depot. I'm like, okay, realized it wasn't about me. But I think having that right landing place or company culture would be the term I
Mhm.
like to use to make it to where when you're starting out, you can learn, grow, and fail forward because failure is not always bad. It's a learning experience. And then, like you said, you have the systems and processes in place to kind of have guardrails to make sure they don't crush everything, but they can still learn and grow. Was that something that you developed over the years for your businesses, or is that just something you took from the original training you had working for the previous employer?
Yeah, I think it was a combination of some God-given talents and learning some things along the way. I've always been the person that kind of loves the grind and loves the process and kind of building things that scale and grow and work well without me. I think there's some innate talents there. And a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with that. They're more visionaries and sales oriented
Mhm.
and they run things off heroes. You start a business on heroes, you can't scale a business on heroes. But when you have the secret sauce of heroes working in a scalable system, you do great things. I was thinking about like a sports, I'm a big sports guy. I love sports analogies, but I was kind of thinking back around the Patriots. You had this Bill Belichick system with Tom Brady running it. Now, I have no doubt Tom Brady is going to win Super Bowls without Bill Belichick's system. And I actually have no doubt Bill Belichick's going to win some Super Bowls without Tom Brady. But the two together produce something that, the NFL's never seen before. And that's what I'm really about. I'm about, okay, let's have those great systems and processes and let's hire and develop great people so they can do Tom Brady like things along the way. And as you mentioned so well, the highlight reel is everybody wants to be Tom Brady, but nobody wants to put in the work that Tom Brady put in to become
Yeah,
Tom Brady too. So it's all those kind of things coming together as one. And that's what I like to do in business. I want to create a system and processes that scale. And part of those processes and systems are improving those processes and systems because you got to iterate on them and improve them along the way so that great salespeople like yourself can thrive and focus on being Tom Brady and not, blocking, being an offensive lineman. Once you'd be a quarterback and a good system allows you to be a quarterback and not have to worry about the other aspects of your job.
I love that. And you said something else that I thought is the key. Most entrepreneurs I know fall into visionary, but we need
Mhm.
people like you who are integrators that can take that vision and do the step-by-step process and reverse engineer it. Because if not, it's just a fuzzy dream. And most entrepreneurs I know, if they don't have an integrator like you, can't
Yeah.
fulfill it because they're going to mess up and find every little squirrel that they can run after. So, no, I think that that's key. Um, so when you're doing that, I've heard a couple things: having the right process and systems in place, company culture. What else is there for? So I know that there's a lot of first-time entrepreneurs, people that are starting to get teams, starting to get to the point where they
Mhm.
can't just be the hero coach or the hero business.
Right.
Now they have to start integrating more people. What are some of the first things that you would suggest that they would do to start building their business, like key people to bring in to help them?
Yeah. So first and foremost, a good entrepreneur, they're the first person to do everything in their business. Either if they have a partner or whatever, y'all are the first people to do everything in the business. And that's super important because you need to learn what needs to be done. You need to learn the right way and the wrong way. And so it's really critical, and you don't over engineer this. And this is really important as well. But as you're doing those job functions, you're documenting the processes and the things that need to take place to do that job consistently and consistently well. When you've got that mapped out and you know what works and what doesn't work, you can then start overlaying good people on top of that. But if you get that out of order, it can create a lot of chaos, and that's where bad hiring comes into play, because you're not able to set good expectations about the role. You don't really know what it takes, and you're either going to get lucky and hire somebody that's really good, or you're not, and you're going to hire somebody that's bad, and you're going to waste a lot of time and money. And honestly, both are pretty bad, because that hero you hired, you can't replicate. And you get a little false confidence there that you've got something figured out when you really don't. And then, of course, if you don't hire properly, you're going to waste a lot of time and energy and money. So a lot of people kind of skip those steps along the way and just immediately, I hear it all the time. Oh, I just need a great salesperson to hire, or I'm going to hire a VP of sales and I'm going to let them come put the process in place. Those great VP of sales usually aren't the people that define the processes. They come in and manage the process, grow the process, build the team, that kind of stuff. They need the help on the process side there. And even if they are good at it, you need to give them a foundational level to start with so that they can then improve and elevate that to the next level.
I agree, because I am a sales trainer, sales coach. When I come in, I'm first thing I'm asking, okay, what's your sales process? How are you doing it now? What's successful? And if they don't have anything, I'm like, oh, we got to go to ground zero here, because I can't come in and build your vision for you if you don't have the vision in place. I can come in and tweak it. I can make it better. I can set it in motion, but it has to be based on company culture, the model, and what they're doing. So no, I agree 100% with that. And I think
And
so
any
many times
process is
people,
better than no process, right? Because I mean, it's okay if it's wrong. At least you're consistently wrong. And so I think a lot of times people, when I'm sure your experience this as well, they have no process and they're just like, oh, I don't know where to start. I don't even know what to do. And you eat the elephant one bite at a time. You just, slowly. And the younger the company is, the easier it is to instill processes. The more mature, the more difficult it is. And you have to balance that. But, it's mission critical to scaling a business. And if you don't do it, you're going to have long-term pain. In the short term, you're probably going to have some short-term pain, because the implementing process and building that into the culture and DNA is not easy. But it's worth the effort if you want to scale and grow the business.
and I think people just listen to Gary Vee a little bit too much there. He says, get people that can do what you don't like to do. That's cool once you have your business up and going. But if you can't give them guidelines, then they're going to do it how they want to do it. Then it's not your business. And there's that whole frustration. Or like you said, you might actually even be hired a really good person, but they don't have the guidelines and the order to run into. So they're going to mess it up. So what I'm hearing you say is, have a SOP or standard operating procedures in place, whether or not they're perfect or not, but at least that you have a working knowledge of it as an entrepreneur, so that way you can start and go, hey, John, this is what I have right now. Come help me with my CRM. I have one. This is what we're doing. It's not working. It's better than, John, I have a CRM. I've not touched it. Just do it for me, because
That's right.
you don't know what your pain points are. You don't know
Yeah.
where any of the misses are.
Yeah, we have this framework called the Scalable Business Framework, and what we really outline is there's three aspects of that. There's process, automation, and visibility. Everything starts with process, and once again, don't seek perfection. Just get it as good as possible, because good as enough is usually good enough on that. Then you can start automating. You can't, if you automate bad processes or inconsistent processes, it exacerbates the problem. But once you have good defined processes, you can automate more and make the lives of your sales team members better and easier, because your job is really to build these processes to support and help your team and make their job easier. It's not a burden, it's a benefit to them. And then finally, you get the visibility to understand what's really going on in your business. So that kind of aligns what you're talking about there. If you outsource that to somebody new, or don't start them with a blank slate, they don't know what the standard is. They don't know what the data should look like. They don't know what we should be measuring. They don't know. And as an entrepreneur or business leader, you don't know how things are going, which is you're driving your business looking in the rearview mirror instead of the windshield. You have no idea where you're going and what's happening. And so you've got to have the foundations of those things in place to really be able to start adding people and growing your business. Otherwise, it's going to be chaotic and you're going to have to rely on luck. And, nobody wants to do that. but when you do these things, you get return on luck. Because you will get lucky and good things will happen, but that you get your return on investment from that a lot more because you were consistent along the way.
And I'm thinking about, because we all hear the cliches, hard work, grind all the time, do. Yeah, well, if your hard work is not going in the right direction, you're just wasting time. It's
Yeah.
having those modalities and having those systems and processes in place. Like even looking at my sales jobs that I've done in the past, why I've been so successful is because I did the boring, consistent things I need to do every day. I sent
Right.
my emails out, I made my calls, I did my follow-ups, I connected on LinkedIn. I did all the stuff no one else would do. And there was probably better salespeople than me, but they just didn't win because they only put half effort. They didn't have a system and process that they followed every day. And I see that with a lot of entrepreneurs and people. How do you help them understand? I mean, it's not right words. How did you get your ability to do systems and processes? Because success is boring. It's doing those right things over and over again, and you've mastered it, but not many people have that. So how do you develop that?
Yeah, it's really a mindset. So I changed the game in my head. The game wasn't to win that deal or hit this revenue number or hit whatever, don't have destination disease or whatever. And I flipped the script in my head is like, if I can't architect a system or a way to solve this problem repeatedly with a culture that people love in a market that I like serving, because I've also done this, and I'm blessed right now, and the reason I created this business is I love the market that we serve. I am extremely passionate about that, and there's nothing better about that. But architecting that became the game, and if I couldn't solve that problem, I didn't want the business to be successful, because I only wanted the business to be successful if we could do it the right way and do those things. So it's a bit of a mindset shift, because I want to build a business I love,
Hmm.
and I'm not trying to sell it or whatever. If you build a business you love that's profitable, you'll have the opportunity to sell it, or you'll have optionality no matter the outcome of that. If you're only trying to build it up to sell it or just make money or things like that, you're probably going to get stuck at some level, and you're going to be trapped in your own business. And to be frank with you, that's worse than failing, because you have real responsibilities at that point. You have customers relying on you, families relying on you. You got a lot, your payroll, you got assets you have to pay for, you have loans potentially, you have investors. That pressure and burden is a lot worse than, just failing fast and learning to go do something different.
Well, I was thinking about this today, and I don't remember who I was talking to, but I always talk about waking up to a life you love living. But I've
Mhm.
seen a lot of entrepreneurs going around that same wheel again. And instead of being in the corporate rat race, I'd say they're in the entrepreneurial rat race. They're
Yeah.
not living a life they love. They're grinding 12 hours or 14 hours a day, but not for something that they want to do and be. But I think the key you said was there. I built a business that I love. So I'm going to ask this. Did you build a business before that you didn't like or that you weren't aligned with? Is that why you like this time around, I'm going to do that?
Yeah, and so to be clear, I love the people in it, and I am so grateful for all the different businesses I was able to help build and come alongside. But it was serving markets. So the first business we served Fortune 1000 companies. That's where I learned I didn't like serving corporate America. I just didn't like the bureaucracy, the red tape, and all that stuff. It's just not cut out for me. I want to get stuff done. I don't want to go through a steering committee and wait 6 months for it to happen. That kind of thing. And so I was like, well, let me go do products now. And then we did a product in the entertainment industry. We had a ticketing system, and we were the first to do a lot of things in that industry. And those recurring themes still come up today, surprisingly. But I learned I didn't like entertainment. I loved the people, I loved the building the software, I loved all that kind of stuff, but that's not an industry I enjoy working in. I don't ever care to go to another concert again in my life. It's just not my thing. And so about that time is when I realized, okay, what I really love doing is building these businesses up and watching them scale without me. And once they're built, I want to go do it again. And so
Mhm.
that's why I started Fast Slow Motion. And then also I knew the market I wanted to serve. I wanted to serve the people out there that were just like me, trying to grow and scale a business, that perhaps weren't gifted in the same areas that I was in, and perhaps weren't passionate about systems and processes. Because most people just start yawning when you say that, but they're mission critical to build a key business or a successful long-term successful, consistent business. But most people, they don't want to do the effort and the work, and because it's hard, there's nothing easy about it.
Well, you know what's funny when you're talking? The first two businesses, I could tell you like, yeah, I don't like these. Like I could see it on your face. It's great. When you start talking about this one, you lit up like a Christmas
Oh
tree,
yeah.
which is
Yeah.
cool. And I think that's the thing though. What people don't realize is sometimes the thing that they're avoiding or the work they're avoiding, in reality, that's their key to success. You
Mhm.
found an industry and something that you like to do. You were probably successful in the other two businesses, but you weren't happy with it, so it doesn't align with who you are. You also had the ability to risk and say, okay, I'm changing the model. Oh, I don't like this one. I'm changing the model. A lot of people don't have that aspect, but as an entrepreneur, we're the disruptors. We're the ones that are going to go into the world and create something that's not there. So it kind of comes with it. How how important then is alignment for you? Because like I said, I can literally see your, and I'm not being woo here, but like your energy change, like you just lit up,
Yeah.
like you were happy and engaged when you're talking about this aspect compared to the other ones. And I've done jobs before where I'm like, I would never do that again. I made a lot of money off it. I can't do it. And there's other stuff like I love helping people wake up to a life they love living.
Yeah, I think it boils down to three things. I call them three P's. People make fun of me when I use them, but I think you got to be very intentional about your purpose and what you want to do. And so I was very intentional about, I mean, these things that I created 10 and a half years ago are the same things we're all about today. So our purpose is to be a blessing to business leaders as they grow and scale their business. That's our big why. That's when we get out of bed in the morning. And we want to serve as many of those business leaders as possible, and that's what we're passionate about. So that purpose is really important. And I think as an entrepreneur, or if you were looking to start a business, you have to be passionate about that, because everybody will get into the grind. There are always bad days, there are always tough calls, there's always all that kind of stuff. You will quit if you're not passionate about it, or you will get trapped and you'll hate life, and your life will pass you by, unfortunately. The second thing is the people aspect of it. You want to build a business and a culture. You know, use the word culture, and we do too as well. This is all about your culture. What kind of culture do you want to have? And you that is should be non-negotiable. You should never. That's like character. You cannot sacrifice your character for any reason at all. So for us, we wanted to build an environment where flexibility was the core principle. So I started this business 10 and a half years ago. We were remote first then. We started as remote first. So we have 120 full-time people across the US. And I started that all when nobody was talking about it, because I wanted to create an environment where people were around their families, around their friends. They could work where they wanted to, because we work really hard and we work a lot of hours here, but we also believe life is fully integrated and you shouldn't have to compartmentalize life, and life is life. You should be the same person at work as you are at home and all that kind of stuff. So being around that, so we don't micromanage people. They have the flexibility to work their own hours and how they want to work, but they work really hard. So it's not like they don't work
Mhm.
hard. And the third thing is profits. If your business is not profitable, something is wrong. Making money is a good thing if you're achieving your purpose and you're taking care of people along the way. So we create those three things, and they're all equal. Like one can't get out of whack, and that creates a flywheel. And once that thing gets going, that's who you are, and that's how you do things, and that's how you make decisions, and it keeps everything in sync. So we serve for our purpose, we take care of our people, and we make sure we make money so that we can serve our purpose and take care of our people long term. And you see how all those things fit together. So that's how I think about it. And I think as an entrepreneur, you need to architect that early on. You won't have all the whys and the hows, and I mean the hows and the whats figured out, but that's your North Star when you have those dark days or you have those times where you want to quit or whatever. But it also helps you validate. If you can't attract talent to your purpose, you got something wrong, or it's not
Mhm.
scalable. You got a nonprofit. Okay, go do that. You know, or and equally important, and people miss this a lot, is they can't make money doing what they're doing. And you need to figure that out sooner rather than later as well, because once again, if you can't make money doing what you're doing, you don't have a real business. You got a hobby, or you got a nonprofit, or you got something, you got a charity, that kind of thing.
When I think it's people will sometimes think something's really good, but if no one's raising their hand when you're offering it, you're right.
People vote
It's
with their
not there.
dollars. Yeah,
Yeah.
people vote with their dollars. And I encourage people to early on, like you don't need to engineer your processes. You need to sell something. And I'm talking about transact cash, not them, say they're going to, that will help prove out your model. And then you can start defining your processes to building consistency to that. But if you can't get cash flow coming in, once again, it doesn't matter how great your idea is. It doesn't matter how great your purpose is. None of those other things matter. And also too, and a lot of times entrepreneurs kind of flip that on its head and they chase the money aspect of it. Money without purpose and people doesn't matter. It's non-fulfilling. There's no contentment in that. And you're going to wake up and your life's going to pass you by and you have no friends. There's no baby at your deathbed. And that's no fun either. Those relationships are where the meaning in life and the purpose in life really is.
Yeah. And I want you all to rewind this because a lot of times I think people get so set up on, I'm just going to go make money. They burn bridges and they screw people over, or they have this idea that they think's good and no one's raising their hand. If no one's raising their hand, change the idea. Like even in
Okay.
my sales coaching, I tried to do group coaching one time. It didn't work as well. Then I tried to do this, and now it's landed on building sales teams, and then it's dialed into helping people with prospecting. So I'm really good at that, or follow-up systems. Again, we talk about systems,
Yeah.
and it's just what are they raising their hands for? Because, like you said, if you don't make money off it, it's a hobby. And entrepreneurship is an expensive hobby because there's bills, there's stuff you got to do.
Right.
So figure that out. But I love what you said there. People, passion, profit. I just threw profit in the same way, but no, that's the words you because you said all three.
Yeah.
And I thought about this before when you're first starting out. Passion, purpose, plan. Know what you're wanting to do. Have a passion for it and plan it out. Which once you have your people set in motion, then it's just figuring out okay, how much will they pay for what I'm offering?
That's
That's
right. Yeah.
I know it's super simple, but
Yeah. It's really that easy and it's really that hard is the reality of it at the end of the day. But, yeah, I mean, if you define those things and then your job is to prove those things either true or false. And you can then make pivots. Like find me an entrepreneur or a successful business owner or entrepreneur that didn't pivot some and didn't make changes. If they say they didn't do that, they're 100% lying. But the good ones stayed true to their purpose and who they were and what they're doing. But the what may change. The how is definitely going to change over time. And that's creating a business that they love, and that's why they're very successful in what they do.
well, I thought about this because like when I started my podcast before, used to call it 150K podcast. I was
Mhm.
helping dads take their kids to Disney, their wives to Hawaii, break over 150. You're for the most of the US, you're doing really good. That
Yeah,
was the idea. And then the podcast has grown. I changed the name to this because I wanted to talk about health. I wanted to talk about
yeah,
leveling up. I wanted to talk about other aspects. And the same thing with business. Like every time I've done business, anytime I've even done a sales job, it's been different. The products are different, the people are different, their buying signals are different. You just have to figure out what it is that you really want and then actually put a plan on it. I think, and I want your idea on this. I think a lot of times, too many times, entrepreneurs will have this fuzzy idea and want to say that they're a business and have all the highlight reels, but they don't have anything planned out. They'll just be like, I am going to do this. Have you run into is that why, let me ask this, is that why you think there's such a failure rate with business, or is there something else besides not having a actual plan with SOPs and strategies in place?
I personally feel that way. DL Moody has a quote that I love. He's like, everybody's going to end up somewhere. Few people end up there on purpose. And I think that's so much around business because, and I don't say this arrogantly, and you probably would like, I've heard you've kind of say it before too around yourself. You can sell anything. Like you put yourself and you can sell anything. And you're very talented and you're good and all that, but you know what to do and you know how to do it and figure it out. I feel the same. I feel like I could run any business. I can figure it out. And it's because I focused on those core fundamentals. Like Nick Saban can coach any football team because he knows how it's all about the fundamentals that he's doing, and he's doing that consistently over and over and over and over again. Without those plans, without those processes, without staying focused on that, without knowing what your North Star is, you're going to be all over the place and you're going to meander and you're not going to end up where you wanted to be for sure. And honestly, it's a blessing if you do fail fast because once again, sometimes you kind of meander into some success that creates bigger problems down the road so that you You can't be the dad you want to be. You can't be the husband you want to be. You can't be the friends you want to be, that kind of stuff, because you're working all the time and you're not enjoying the work along the way. So yeah, I very much believe that as well.
No, I've actually called some friends of mine out on that. Go, quit telling people that you're doing it for your family because you don't spend any time with them. You're doing it for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Know what you are doing. Like I literally during my sales career took a step back. I still sold, but like I didn't sell as much for a time, so I could be the assistant dugout coach, baseball coach for my son when he's 11 and 12.
Yeah.
But for me, those are core memories now that I will always remember. Now he's 6'4", bigger than me, and he's 19. But we can always laugh
Yeah.
about how I messed certain stuff up in there, whatever. And that's more valuable than me making an extra 100,000. Who cares? I can go out and make money
Yeah.
now. I think it's figuring out where you're at in life, what you want, and waking up to a life you love living and
Yeah.
doing the things you need to do. Now, sales, I was able to do that because all I did was just go in earlier. I know some people are like, well, how did you do that? I just went into work earlier. I like it, but it's just one of
Yeah.
those things. I think you had to figure out your passion and plan it first. I think so
Yeah.
many people don't have that. How do
Yeah.
you, how would you help someone who's struggling with that? Like
Yeah.
they want to be an entrepreneur, they're trying to figure it out. They got ideas, nothing's working yet.
Mhm.
How do you help someone figure out, okay, what is it? Do you have them look at their life at the end, or do you have them look at the business they want to create? What would you say for them to start with? Because you're definitely a successful business owner.
Yeah. So I'd go back to the mindset first. You have to decide that's where you want to get to. And you've got to architect your own personal processes and systems and things, behaviors. Like you said, all right, I'm gonna get up early now. I'm gonna re-architect my day so that I can then be a dugout coach. And what's fun about that to me is I think you can re-architect that to create a business or make a lot more money and do all those kinds of things. I think it requires a lot of intentionality and focus around that. And people aren't being that intentional. So it requires that just mindset. Okay, I'm going to be intentional and I'm going to architect it and I'm going to fail some and I'm going to change and I'm going to pivot, but I'm going to architect out my day. I'm going to own my calendar. I'm not going to let my calendar own me. I'm going to own my business and run my business. I'm not going to let my business own me, so that I can do these things, because, and that's going to change over your life, because, like you said, your son's 19 now. You're not doing a dugout coach anymore. You've got different things going on. Right. And so that all changes. And so that's fun to me. I get excited about those kinds of things, but I think a lot of people don't. Maybe, Atomic Habits, James Clear, a great book for people to read. And he breaks it down pretty simply. And nothing in his book, nobody reads his book and goes, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I've never thought about that. He just breaks it down. And the hard part about Atomic Habits is actually doing it. Uh, you know, and so I think it's a really more of a doing problem than anything. And then not the other thing that I would recommend on that is don't punish yourself when you mess up on that, because it's all about the next best decision. Don't make two unwise decisions in a row. Just like a professional golfer, they don't make two bad shots in a row. They'll make bad shots, but they won't make two in a row. So that mindset of, okay, yeah, I'm trying to get in shape and I ate ice cream last night. Well, I'm gonna get up in the morning and go for a run. Instead of, okay, I'm going to gorge on a huge breakfast because I messed up last night. It doesn't really matter anymore. And that's the mindset that people have. So that would be my advice on that is yeah, just put those disciplines in place and change your mindset about how you want to solve the problem.
Yeah, no, I love that. I always use the baseball analogy. World Series are won with base hits and stolen bases, not
Yep.
with home
Yeah.
runs. And I think so many times that's the key to success. And everyone's like, what's the key? What's the key? And I'll literally put it out there. Be consistent in what you need to do each and every day. Like, no,
Yeah.
what's the secret to sales? Be consistent in what you need
Mhm.
to do each and every day. Same thing with business. You have to know what are your levers you have to pull. No, I love that. We're not done, but I want people to be able to know where they can find you and connect with you.
Yeah, thanks. You can check us out on the web at fastslowmotion.com. And then all of our social channels are there. We actually have a podcast too called the Fast Slow Motion Podcast, which digs into a lot of practical things around scaling a business and building a business that you love. And then I'm on LinkedIn as well. So you can find me at, John Burdett on LinkedIn. Love to connect with you and help you. But yeah, please follow us at fastmotion.com if you're interested in any of these topics that we talked about. We're talking about it all the time, and we're very passionate about it, as you mentioned.
Awesome. And we'll put all those in the show notes. That way they can just click and play. So I want to ask you this question because I just think it's a fun question. Sometimes I ask it, sometimes I don't. You can go back in time as far as you want. You can go forward in time as far as you want.
Mhm.
You get to stay for 1 year. You get to be with one person, learn whatever you want, and bring that knowledge back to today. Where would you go? Who would you talk to? And what would you learn?
Well, I'm definitely a man of faith. So I would go back to when Jesus was alive because I would love to be one of his disciples and just sit around and learn there. So, that is definitely the answer that I would have there, which may not be popular with some people, and I get it, but just so much of his wisdom and the way he did things, and I try to model that in every aspect of life that I do. So that's the easy answer for me on that one, Joe.
No, I love that. I think it's great. Who you want to meet is who you want to meet. There's no rules.
Yeah,
I think that's phenomenal.
yeah,
Like, I think that would be cool to see. Like,
yeah,
he changed the world. Like, whether you like him or don't, he changed the world. Like, I'm a Christian, so like I agree with you, but like he changed the world completely. Like
yeah,
everything changed. So I mean
yeah.
that's totally cool. Any words of wisdom, anything we maybe missed on anything we've talked about today or something that we didn't bring up that you want to leave our listeners with?
I just want to encourage people to take a next step. Like, so you're listening to this podcast for a reason. You're either an entrepreneur and you have a business, or you're a great salesperson and you're doing great things on that kind of stuff, but you're wanting to grow and you're wanting to get better. And just like you said, hit a single. Don't try to hit a home run. Take a next step, take the next step, and just try to keep compounding wise decisions. And you're going to look up one day and you're going to have all this tremendous opportunity in front of you. Opportunity just doesn't happen. You prepare, as John Wooden used to say, it's too late to prepare once the opportunity arises. Start preparing today by taking some next steps in the directions of where you want to go. And I'm very confident you'll end up there if you just keep taking those next steps.
I love it, John. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. And for everyone that's listening, take the next step. Each day
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get one step closer to the life you're going to live either way. 10 years from now, you're going to be a person. Which person do you want to be? A happy one or a sad one? Have a great day, guys. Thanks again. Talk soon.